Marcella. Hey, congratulations. Second season of We Need to Talk About America.
Thank you.
So this here is one of those addictive shows because you get to watch a lot of videos. And I remember they used to have these on like VH1. I don't even know if that channel's still around anymore.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But tell us how you boarded this project in the first place. I want to say back in the first season, right?
Well, yeah, I helped Fuse shoot the pilot presentation, and that was really fun to do because it seemed like they weren't totally sure, but they also knew that they wanted first generation voices talking about American bullshit. And it was cool to be a part of something like that from the jump. And so to be asked to be a part of this first season was amazing. And to be asked back was even more amazing, you know? So that was cool. So yeah, to be there from its inception was really cool to watch. And it really has grown and gotten better and juicier and funnier and more interesting.
Now, this show is about the response of it being first generation comics. Could you tell us more about your family background? You being a first generation American.
Sure. My parents came here from El Salvador in the 80s, just like a lot of Salvadorians came in the 80s because of the Civil War. And, I was always raised to be proud of my Salvadorian background and to also be proud of my American background as well. You know, my dad really instilled in us to be proud of both cultures. And I think that's why this is a good match for me because I was raised to be proud of both. I was never raised to be ashamed of, being, a super gringa, and also being, able to do and say whatever I want in regards to my culture because, I was pretty informed at a pretty early age about everything.
Now, given this perspective, how does this mold into your personal comedy?
I mean, my comedy, I talk about everything. So, like I said, like I was raised to be informed about everything, and that's what my comedy is like. You never know when you're catching me in my stand-up whether I'm going to be talking about my relationships, my friendships, my family, some random bullshit interaction that happened, or talking about politics or celebrity gossip. Like I love talking about everything. I think that's why it's always been kind of a longer road for me in comedy because I didn't want to pick a lane. I think most people are multifaceted. Most people are pretty informed. So to only do one style of comedy is not really how my brain works. And that's what was cool about this show is that, they don't just want you to dissect American culture. They want you to embrace your own culture and they want you to understand how, I mean, for lack of a better term, how it's fused together. And I really like it because I do feel like I'm being allowed to be my full American self and also be my full Salvi self. And I love that because I think, a lot of first generation people, I certainly didn't grow up with enough like first generation representation just across the board. Like and all my homies in school were first generation, whatever it was, Mexican, Laos, whatever our backgrounds were. Like we all were the same in the sense that we were raised to, love our background and love where we were, And so I think it really shows.
I so you grew up with a very, very diverse community, diverse friends, diverse everything.
I definitely it was like we were all drawn to each other, like there were like not a ton of minorities in Modesto growing up. But the few we all kind of were always, with each other, there wasn't a group of kids I wasn't hanging out with or being friends with or, minus my homophobic years, but we don't need to talk about that.
You know what? I'm not going to complain.
It's the 90s. It was the 90s.
I grew up just south of the 99 in this town called Clovis, California.
Oh, I know Clovis.
So I completely understand
Yeah.
the environment that
Yeah.
you grew up through.
But it was cool, like to have, friends growing up who were proud to be what they were, to be invited to their New Year's celebration and, eat the food of the culture. And, I'm very thankful that my parents encouraged us to, try different places to eat, so that, by the time, I get invited to my friend's Ethiopian household, I'm like, I'm not totally scared, but I'm still, 8 years old. So I'm a little scared, but that's, what's beautiful about America is that you really have access to everyone and we should be celebrating everyone.
So let's talk about how the sausage is made for this. We need to talk about
Sure.
America. Do do the producers come up with the videos, or you come up with the videos, to be watched for these series?
What's cool about the second season is they were really encouraging of us bringing as much as we can to the table, because they would present an idea to us and, obviously they want you to like, have jokes and roast and stuff, but, some of the material was sent in advance and it was nice because if I have enough time, my little brain gets going and I can start thinking of different angles of doing things. And I just like to be fully creative. So they were really supportive of that. And I love that. It's always nice to work with producers who understand comedy and we're not just sitting there roasting videos, like they encouraged all the comedians to be as interactive or not if they didn't want to. Like if it, didn't strike them, that was fine. And there was like, bits that someone would come up with, like Jesus would come up with something and then it was fun to like do his little thing. And then I would come up with something and it was fun to watch everybody do their version of it. And that's always fun because that's kind of how comedy starts. When you're starting in comedy, you are always working with your friends. You're always helping each other write better jokes. You're always finding tags. So it's nice when you can kind of replicate that for a show.
So a lot of these jokes were kind of pre-planned, or sometimes.
No. I mean, it was all versions of it. That's what's fun about it, right? Like, because some of us have bits pertaining to some of the topics, and some of us don't, but we are happy to dissect a topic, and that's what's always cool. And also, what I love about this type of the video format. I mean, like roasting a video or something, it's sometimes just going back and forth with a producer, another comedian, your brain just starts going somewhere else. And that's always fun.
So they shoot the video, you watch it, and then you just go off for a few minutes or whatever time that they give
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there like a comedian on the production that you love working with, in your favor?
I mean, when I first moved to LA, I think Jesus Trejo was one of the first comedians I became friends with. So anytime we work together, it's the best because it's so fun. We know each other so well. So when we do get to interact, like we know how to play off each other. Chinedu is another one that I've known forever, and it's always fun to work with him. And Sherry, I've known not forever, but I've known her for quite a few years, and she's a wild one, which is always nice. Tim, I don't really know Tim that well, but I think he's great. I really admire what he does. I've followed him online on social media and Wild and Out for years. So I'm always excited when I can work with Tim, and also just the size difference is always fun.
So on an average season like this, how many videos do you personally have to go through?
Oh gosh, I have no idea. It's a lot. It's fun. I have no idea. I couldn't answer that question. I have no idea.
How about this? Because I know you watch a lot of videos,
Yeah.
and it probably, becomes, all murky and stuff. But is there any particular videos that just stand out, like you can't get it out of your head?
They had us watch. Okay, so sometimes when they send you a video, they're like, here's whatever, a 10-minute clip, but what we want you to look at is at minute 1, at minute 3, at minute 7, whatever. And that's one of the videos was, oh my God, what is it called? Like car salesman training other car salesmen how to sell cars to women from, like, I don't know if it was the 60s or 70s. I couldn't not watch the whole video. It was so insane because you're like, yeah, like at some point, feminism hit the mainstream and men had to be taught how to work with women. Like, that's mind blowing to think about. I think we take so much of our freedoms for granted so often. And so to think that like a man had to be trained to sell whatever, my mom a car is wild. You know, like, and that video, I mean, it's available online. It's on YouTube, and I wish I could remember what it was, but it is so, that one has, it's burned in my brain forever. Like, I think it kind of changed the way I looked at things. I never thought about like a training video at someone's place of employment teaching you how to talk to a woman, not just talk to her, respect her enough to sell a car to her. You know, like that video is wild. If you can look it up, it's really fucking funny.
I'm definitely gonna look that one up. But what in the end? I mean, what does this say about our country? You know, like is it?
Hey, we've been through some shit. That's what it said. You know, and you know, God bless them for taking that initiative. You know, and I, you know, there's something to, you know, a lot of times on like, especially on social media, everyone gets so mad that somebody doesn't know the thing that they know, or they're ready to bite someone's head off. And it's like, man, so people really need to be taught some basic things. And we forget that it's not just, you know, children that need educating. I think all adults need educating all the time. So it's really funny to know that at some point in the history of this country, like men had to be taught how to work because they're working for these women really when they're car salesmen. And I like the idea of like, okay, there's baby steps everywhere. And like, it makes me wonder, like, what are the, like, even right now, there's sexual harassment training. Men need to be taught not to sexually harass, or not just men, everyone needs to be taught what the fine lines are. Thank God they don't have that in comedy. And that's why I get away with so much on these sets. No, don't print that. That's bad.
No, you are fine. But speaking of, how did you get into comedy in the first place for yourself?
I mean, someone suggested it and I just started doing it. I was like the classic youngest of four, class clown, you know, all that shit. I was, you know, always dancing and performing, and, you know, I come from a family of performers. You see that? That's my dad was in a band in the 70s in El Salvador called Los Hermanos Flores. Like, the performance is in me. So I honestly feel like if I would have pursued music or singing or dancing or whatever professionally, I would have been just as successful than I am in stand-up, because it was just in me. So it was natural to start doing stand-up.
So your specialty is in stand-up because I could tell you have a really good natural flow on telling stories.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing stand-up for 17 years, so I hope I have a natural flow. I'm also on antidepressants, so that helps too. God bless America.
Well, I guess that's something we always need to talk about America in this case.
Yeah.
Well, Marcella, I've taken a lot of your time.
You've taken 10 minutes of my time. Relax.
I mean, you know, it's some people 10 minutes is a lot. Some people think 10 minutes is not. But what's coming up for you now? Are you on a stand-up comedy tour, or?
I should be announcing a small summer tour pretty soon. And then I have a second album coming out, Mercury and Reggaeton, that's coming out hopefully soon. And, you know, building a new hour, which is exciting to put together a new hour. And I think that's it. Getting some sleep. That's the other thing coming up for me.
Wow,
with the WGA and the SAG on strike, I'm like chilling for a while.
Oh, are you not allowed to write your jokes right now?
No, I'm just saying, like, it's not like I can go, you know, audition or work, and you know, yeah. I'm focusing on stand up right now, which is you know, it's what I love the most, so it's cool.
That is awesome, man. And you said that you have a reggaeton album. I didn't know you said.
No, it's called Mercury and Reggaeton.
Oh, okay.
It's a stand-up album. It's just one of the worst weekends I ever had headlining, and we had to like splice it together. And I was like, yeah, everything that went wrong that weekend went wrong, and we still managed to put together a really funny album. So I'm excited about that.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to pick up some of your albums because you know I've seen a few episodes of We Need to Talk About American, and I find your quips hilarious, like right on point.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was, you know, I love that show. That it really does feel good to be able to, you know, blend, you know, things that I love talking about together. because you don't always have that opportunity, especially not in this industry. You know, it's not it's kind of always like, you know, unless you're like willing to sell a sitcom about your first generation experience, and it has to be a comedy and a drama and da 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 da. It's like, man, can we just like make fun of this because it's actually just really funny, the day to day shit. Like it's that's why I like this show so much.
I know, and especially since this internet age and everyone's videoing anything and everything,
Yeah,
we need a laugh and not get serious about this
I
stuff.
agree.
Well, Marcella, thank you very much for this conversation. It's lovely to meet you about this, and hopefully we get to do this again.
Yeah,
Crossing
thank
the
you.
third
Thank you for
season.
having me. Yeah, for real. And I'm sorry, your name is Gig?
Gig. That's
Oh,
right.
cool. Cool. Nice to meet you too.
Hey, thank you. Next time.
All right, take it easy.